Hey guys, and welcome along to This Week in Photography, fresh out of the oven and still warm to the touch. Every week or thereabouts, I take a look at interesting stories happening in the photographic world, cast my beautiful hazel eyes over them and search for some meaning behind the headlines. And in this week's show, Google research scientists debut an incredible new AI photo tool, a real estate agent flying a drone gets a gun shoved in his face, an off-the-books drone ID removal tool grows in popularity, the incredible Apollo moon landing photographs get remastered, and a camera that links good lenses to smartphones with machine learning nears release. If there's one trend that has dominated the photography world over the last couple of years, it's AI. Barely a week seems to go by without some incredible new technology that promises to revolutionise some aspect of photography. Nobody's announced a camera that will get up at sunrise, drive itself to the beach, take cool photographs and buy you a coffee on the way back to the house, but it can't be far off, surely. The latest incredible advance comes from Google's research team and goes by the name of MultiNerf. The MultiNerf tool uses a technique called neural radiance fields to render a well-lit scene from one that was shot in near darkness using what looks to me like black magic. The software isn't available in a readily usable form yet, but you can guarantee it will start appearing in smartphones and software applications within a year or two. So how does it all work? Like many recent computed photography techniques, it relies on having access to a series of photographs, not just one still. And more importantly, the stills need to be the original RAW files because Nerf software makes use of all that dreaded high ISO noise to do its calculations. The results, as you can see from the demonstration video, are nothing short of miraculous. Not only can Nerf turn a near pitch black scene into one that's well lit, but it can change the camera viewpoint, manipulate focus, change exposure and tone map all after the fact. Remember that scene in Blade Runner when Deckard was manoeuvring through seemingly hidden areas of a photograph to reveal its secrets? Well, this is a little bit like that. Of course, while the MultiNerf software is turning a night shot into day, it's also transforming it from a crazily noisy image into a clean one. As the Google researchers responsible for this code put it, Nerf produces a scene representation so accurate that its rendered novel views outperform dedicated single and multi-image deep raw denoisers run on the same wide baseline input images. So in other words, this is the ultimate denoising algorithm too. Seems to me that the speed of change in AI processing is accelerating, and we are now apparently living in the future. And if we are living in the future, where the fuck's my flying car and me holodeck? With AI cloud creation tools like DALL-E and Midjourney creating photorealistic creations from nothing but a few text prompts, and ongoing improvements in deepfake and machine learning tools in smartphones, it's making real-world photography with a camera seem like cave painting. We live in a world in which various groups actively seek to demonise others. The days of minding your own fucking business are a long distant memory. There's always seemingly some awful fucking wanker ready to overreact, get up in your face and have a pop at you both online and in the real world. That being said, I have a small confession to make regarding this story. When I read the headline, gun-wielding householder threatens drone pilot filming for estate agent, I instantly thought the incident took place in the States. Amazingly, however, this all actually happened in the Cotswolds in England. Now, prior to emigrating to Australia 18 years ago, I used to live about 10 miles from the town of Cirencester, where this incident took place. And while Siren, as the locals call it, has always had a chav element, it's not the south side of LA. The unsuspecting drone pilot in question was simply flying his drone at 9:30 in the morning, photographing a property that was about to go on the market. Shortly after sending his drone up in the air, a boomer with a gold chain and a lumberjack shirt sauntered across the road holding what appeared to be a semi-automatic pistol. He told the drone pilot he'd already taken 3 pot shots at the drone and then nonchalantly waved the gun around in the poor bastard's face. The guy was evidently aggrieved that the drone had dared to hover over his garden and decided that the best course of action was to shoot it out of the sky and then confront the poor dude flying it. After a bit of a wait, the police did eventually apprehend the guy, and he is now helping them with their inquiries. But above and beyond the fact that this unsuspecting dude got a gun waved about in his face simply for flying a drone, there's something just as shitty about this incident itself. And that is the fact that a decent percentage of society will regard this dead-eyed dropkick with a handgun as some kind of hero. We live in a society in which a decent percentage have latched onto the tit, or is it arse, of conspiracy. We live in a world in which ignorance and hatred have become normalised through the back channels of social media. And we've sunk a pretty long way down when some retarded granddad from a chocolate box English town feels perfectly within his rights to point a gun in someone's face for flying a fucking drone. I only hope that this incident has a great impact on property values in the area. While gun-waving boomer bumpkins might be one negative aspect to owning a drone, the fact that drones can be so easily locked down is another. In order to avoid a clampdown on their lucrative business, many years ago, DJI hopped into bed with governments around the world. They made sure that all of their products could be easily tracked by anyone with some special DJI tracking gear, which they coincidentally sold themselves. As a result, governments and their agencies in the police, defence forces and security services can track any DJI drone and the controller that the operator is using to fly it. DJI introduced geofencing, which uses GPS tracking to stop drone owners from flying through regions of airspace they supposedly shouldn't be in. Or at least that was the original aim. The reality is somewhat different. There are many reasons why you might want to disable the Big Brother style restrictions built into DJI drones, and many of them have nothing to do with flying ketamine wraps into prison exercise yards. Some people, including those who live near the edges of restricted airspace, have found the geofencing restrictions to be, how shall we say, overzealous. Perhaps you're using your drone in a remote area for work and it's just not feasible to get unlock codes from China every time you want to send your drone up in the air. Or, perhaps you're a Ukrainian soldier trying to keep an invading fascist force out of your country. Or maybe you never plan to do anything suspect. You just hate the thought of being locked out of the drone you paid good money for. If those constraints do bother you, and you own one of the previous generation of DJI drones, you can remove all restrictions with a modified firmware. The NLD mod is available for Mavic Pro and Platinum, Mavic 2, Zoom Pro and Enterprise, Spark, Mavic Air, Phantom 4, Standard, Advanced Pro and Pro 2, and Inspire 2. The mod removes the no-fly restrictions and the altitude limit. It increases the flying range, gives your drone a speed boost, and also enables you to upgrade or downgrade your firmware at will. While the mod does remove no-fly zones, the NLD team retains certain locked down zones, so you cannot, for instance, fly over an airport or over government buildings or military installations. So if you want to take control of your drone, even if it's simply as a matter of principle, then NLD is where you should be. The moon landings were something of a high watermark for America, an incredible and inspirational feat of equal parts courage and engineering that they have never equalled. And the official record of those moon landings, apart from that flickery old black and white video, is contained in an amazing archive of photographs taken by the astronauts themselves. For years, those photographs were sealed in a frozen vault located in the Johnson Space Center in Houston, Texas. Due to the importance of these photographs, they were very rarely taken out of the freezer. The problem was that the copied master photographs, the images that you and I have seen time and again, become degraded over time. Make a copy of a copy of a copy of a copy, and the images end up looking like you sent them via a broken fax and then spilled coffee all over them. So it was decided to use the latest advances in scanning and retouching software to scan the original negatives and create new digitally perfect masters. One man, Andy Saunders, undertook the job of reviewing the 35,000 photographs and remastering them all. Fortunately for everyone, the photographs were taken with a 70mm Hasselblad camera, so the resulting 1.3 gig 16-bit TIFF files are 11,000 pixel square images that contain an extraordinary amount of detail. And among the unique challenges that Andy faced in processing images was the color temperature. We know what photographs look like here on Earth, but what about on the moon where there's no atmosphere to affect the light? So they got the colours as close as they could and then sought approval of those by the Apollo astronauts who were still living. So the Apollo veterans vetted the photographs and gave ground control the go. The remastered photographs are now part of a touring exhibition which launches this month at London's Royal Albert Hall and then goes on tour around the world. You can also buy a book called Apollo Remastered featuring over 400 of these amazing photographs. I haven't had the greatest experiences with crowdfunding technology, as you might remember from my Arsenal 2 Pro review. And while the Arsenal 2 Pro was a staggeringly awful piece of shit, I do still believe that there's plenty to look forward to in terms of the coming together of cameras and machine learning. I also love the fact that people are always working away in the margins trying to suss out how to improve photography. All of which brings me along to the Alice Camera, a crowd-funded AI camera project which recently closed on Indiegogo. Marketed as a camera for creators, Alice Camera aims to bring the light gathering capabilities of a mirrorless camera with computational photography features. It's a physical and a software-based solution that enables you to put full-size mirrorless micro four thirds lenses on your smartphone. However, this isn't one of those gizmos that sits over the camera lenses on your smartphone. Instead, it connects to the phone via Wi-Fi. Instead of being a physical add-on, it's more of a parasite co-opting the smartphone for its own purposes. The advantage of this is that you can use pretty much any smartphone size and brand. It also means that the smartphone is used only as the interface for the Alice camera. The app itself is heavily pitched towards content creators and includes the ability to live stream on Twitch, YouTube, TikTok, Instagram or Facebook. Now, you've always been able to do that with a smartphone, of course, but only with the smartphone camera, not with a full-blown high-quality lens. The developers have chosen to use the Sony IMX294 micro four thirds sensor and micro four thirds mount. You also get all the full mirrorless goodies such as autofocus and lens stabilization. And for the firmware side of things, the developers have opted for Google's Edge TPU chip to provide deep learning shot selection for better focus and color. You also get built-in HDR, object tracking and scene recognition. The team have managed to attract some heavy hitters in the design department, luring in several Dyson engineers to the project. Now, whether all this effort will result in a usable product remains to be seen, of course, but we'll know for sure very soon, because after some significant delays, Alice Camera is expected to finally start shipping this month. At $1,500 US or $2,300 here in Australia, I'll be waiting for someone else to test the waters though. And that's it for this week, ladies and gents. Have you ever pulled a gun on someone for flying a drone over your cabbage patch, or do you prefer a knife instead? Are you looking forward to all these forthcoming AI applications for photography? Do you yearn for the days of the old Instamatic camera and waiting to get your photos back from the chemists? Let me know in the comments section down below. Subscribe to my channel to see more of my content in your YouTube feed and share more dazzling insights from my brilliant and cruelly underrated mind. Till the next time guys, ta-ta.